Hi everybody, this is Melissa from Barnes Sewing Center, and today I'm going to show you how to thread the Juki Longarm. So whether you have the Miyabi J-350 or the previous model, the TL2200, and whether your machine is in a table or on the frame, the threading is going to be exactly the same. So let's get started. So our first step is we're going to place our cone thread onto our spool holder. We're going to find the end of the thread and just come straight up to the holder that's right above where our cone of thread is. So if I was to place my thread in the back here, I would come straight up, and then I also have another same colored piece. So it's red in the back, red in the front, and that's going to help me travel towards the front of the machine. Or again, if you just place your spool in the front row here, you're going to come straight up, directly above your spool of thread, and then on towards threading the machine. Next, I'm going to take my thread to this rod here, and you have two holes in it. I'm just going to use the top hole, and I'm going to bring the thread from back to front through that hole. And now I'm going to continue down to this piece here. Again, I'm going to bring the thread from back to front through the first hole. I'm going to take the thread and I'm going to go to the left, making sure the thread is in between my two little discs here. And then I'm going to come straight down with my thread and through this exit hole. So this is going to thread from front to back, so I can continue down with my threading. After my thread comes through this exit hole, I'm going to come straight down with my thread, and I'm going to hold it from top and bottom and pull it into my little catch here. Now this is our tension unit, and this is very important. As I thread around here, I'm going to hold the thread from the top, take the thread and loop it around from right to left, and I'm going to make sure I'm in between these tension discs here. But see how I've came around full circle with the thread? Now, very important, I'm going to hold the thread on each side and I'm going to tug it and kind of shoe shine it up into my tension discs. And you do have to feel it pull up into the tension, otherwise you're not going to have any tension on your upper thread and you're going to get big jumbles of thread underneath your fabric. So again, full circle around, and then that tugging of both sides of the thread to really pull the thread up into the tension disc. My thread is caught in this little wire here, so I'm just behind the front of this little wire. So when I bring the thread down, I can see that as I pull on it, I've caught this little wire piece here, and it's moving as I pull on it. So now I'm going to take the thread underneath this little finger and up towards my take-up lever. And one more time, I want to show the threading around the tension from a different angle just to make sure you really understand how it has to catch in there. So I've just exited through this hole here. I will grab my thread and bring it straight down and catch it in this little notch. And again, bringing the thread to the right and in between my two discs. If it's behind it or in front of it, it's not going to work correctly. So in between the two discs, and I bring the thread around full circle, going behind, kind of underneath that little wire piece, and now I have to grab the thread from both sides and give it that quick tug up to really catch it in my tension unit. Now I can bring the thread back down, and again, just that quick little tug to make sure I've caught my wire piece and underneath this little metal finger. Now I'm going to bring the thread up and I'm going to thread it through my take-up lever right here, just like a sewing machine has a take-up lever. So I'll take the end of my thread and threading it from right to left, moving towards the front of the machine, just making sure my thread doesn't catch on anything, so it goes right from around that little finger up through my take-up lever. After I've threaded through the take-up lever, I'm going to pull the thread straight down and push it from left to right into this little catch here. So after I've caught the thread in my little catch here, I'm going to bring the thread straight down and behind my little light bar into this little guide right here. And I'm going to drop the thread from top to bottom through that little hole. And once I have dropped my thread through this little hole here, I do have one more path that I want to catch the thread, and it's right here in this other small little hole, which is very similar to a sewing machine. There's always a little piece that catches the thread before you thread the eye of the needle. So it's this small little hole right here. And if I take a long enough tail, I can easily just drop it through the hole and grab it down from the bottom. And now I'm ready to come to the front of the machine to thread the needle. And now I'm back to the front of the machine, where I'll just take my thread, and I do thread my needle on this machine from front to back. So my thread is coming straight from that little circle on the right side down into the eye of the needle and to the back of my machine.